channel.
What it do, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Iron Rounds, and on today's episode we are continuing on our Assassins / Hit Person tournament. And on this round we're going to have John Wick from the John Wick franchise go against HitGirl from the Kick-Ass franchise. And we usually do 3 rounds. First round is range. Second round is close-up. Third round is get it done. So let's start off with, well, I didn't get a chance to explain the origin story of one of these particular characters in the last time, and since she survived the first round or the quarterly finals, let's give her the origin, shall we, that she rightly deserves. So let's start off with how she began. It starts off with her father was a good cop who was framed by a mobster who wanted to take over the city and didn't want the good cop in the way. So he planned him having drugs, and then he wound up going to prison, the good cop, who happens to be her father. While his pregnant wife was at home struggling with the bills, she couldn't cope with this, so she committed, taking her own life by taking a whole bunch of pills. Luckily, Mindy, the child, survived in the baby's in her womb while she was pregnant. She survived. And she got out of there, and her father's partner / friend, good friend, took over the second father responsibilities while he was in prison, the original father. And the original father decided to plan a way to get back at that guy for destroying his whole life. So when he got back out of prison, he took his little girl and he started training her in the arts of crime fighting. And yeah, that is the origin stories of Mindy, aka HitGirl. All right, so let's start off with round 1. Okay, so let's start with HitGirl. HitGirl, I'm just going to talk about the negatives first about HitGirl. HitGirl, if I already explained, if you haven't watched the first round, in the first round I explained she doesn't really have a lot of range moments. Like distance-wise, she has never shot a lot of distant precision shots. Like she's done most close-up fights and all that stuff. That's kind of more of a bread and butter, even though she used a gun. I've seen the movie, 2 of the movies twice, just to make sure I was confirmed that, and yeah, that's it. But you can say she's still pretty good with throwing blades, and there was an instance or a situation in the first one where she had to save Big Daddy and Kick-Ass and had to use the darkness to her favor, and she did use somewhat of a range distance shot in that moment against one of the guys who was trying to shoot at her, or one of the crime boss's goons. So you can say that there was a moment where she could use the element of darkness to her favor in a distance range shot. So with Wick, it would be a disadvantage because clearly he doesn't have night vision goggles compared to her, who does have night vision goggles. So darkness is her bread and butter in a range distance shots. Now, let's talk about Wick. Wick, I mean, if you check from the first movie to the second movie to the third movie to the fourth movie, the guy already shows throughout all the franchise. There's no mistaking his marksmanship. He can kill you with a gun. Get a gun in his hand and he's got you. That's it. It's over. So if he has a gun, range-wise, you got no chance. The guy has proven time after time that he's capable of doing a lot of impressive things with a pistol, shooting people, multiple people in multiple different situations and multiple pressure situations with things happening all so fast. John has shown time to time that range-wise, he's an excellent marksman through his record. I will say though that HitGirl has an advantage when it comes to hiding in smaller environments, and because of her height and her small frame, it would be a little more harder to hit her like a complete target. And let's not forget, both of them are pretty excellent when it comes to blade throwing. You've seen Wick, and I think it was in the third franchise, he got to show multitudes of how many ways he can throw a blade at you. And with HitGirl, she showed throughout the franchise, even using a butterfly knife, that she can end your life. But between the two, the difference between the two is that HitGirl doesn't just doesn't wound you or anything like that. She goes for the kill. Like, she'll get you from the chest right to the heart. She'll always hit you right there rather than waste time trying to wound you in any kind of way. That's her move. So when it comes to throwing and when it comes to executing someone quickly, she would be the one to do it. But when it comes down to it, between the two, who would win, I'm going to give this to Wick. Clearly, Wick's record of assassinating so many people, on top of that, his entire installments in the movies franchise that shows how many times he's done so many good precision range shots. There's no way HitGirl would be able to get him before he gets her. So yeah, I'm giving this round to Wick. John Wick. Right, round 2, close up. Okay, let's start off with HitGirl. Now, you might think, oh, this little girl doesn't have a chance against the boogeyman. Now let's pump the brakes a sec. You guys tend to forget that this little girl happened to beat people twice her size, full-grown men, even guys who are buffer than her. And she happened to cut them in pieces, okay? She cut a leg off, she cuts a hand off. She's really good at that. So don't mistake it. It's not just about hand-to-hand when it comes to combat. She uses weapons to her advantage when it comes to fighting someone like close up. So even if she's a small person, she still has handguns. She still has like a hand grenade on her. She has blades. She has multitudes of weapons to use to her advantage to fight someone, even if they are skilled fighters. In a close-up fight, she still has an advantage in that way, considering that she uses a blade to cut people in pieces. I'm pretty sure she can probably cut John in pieces if she wanted to during a fight. That being said, let's talk about the fact that the elephant in the room is that she hasn't really won. She's won a few fights. She won a really good fight against Drago, and don't forget Drago, the female version of him. Is this woman? She was called Mother Russia, I think. She was tough as nails to beat, and she took her down by herself. Even though she could have gotten help or backup, she didn't. She went one-on-one with this woman, and she won. Okay, might have had some little help with it, but at the same time, she still won nonetheless. So close-up wise, she's not somebody you want to mess with, but she has lost a few fights against people here and there. She fought against one crime boss in the first one, and she was about to get beaten. If it wasn't for Kick-Ass saving her life, she wouldn't have won that one. And she lost to Mother Russia the first time. So there are a lot of instances where you can say, yeah, Kick-Ass, or sorry, not Kick-Ass, HitGirl might get taken advantage of during a fight, or might get beaten some ways. Now let's talk about John Wick. John Wick, hand to hand. Let's talk about the fact that the guy fought two guys with samurai swords. He's adaptable when it comes to fighting anybody. I mean, close-up wise, he knows how to fight people. He also uses a gun, but he also knows how to use a blade if he needs to, or he even knows how to fight just by himself, fist to fist. So even with a gun or without a gun, even with a blade, without a blade, the guy can do mano-a-mano, hand-to-hand combat with someone, and he showed he could take someone out again with a pencil. But that being said, let's not forget that Wick, certain moments in time, there were moments where the element of surprise showed up and he didn't see it coming. Now, granted, it didn't completely wipe him out completely, but it's because they didn't go for the direct kill. They just kind of try to wound him or something. So those were luck shots. So it's safe to say that there are surprise elements where Wick wouldn't see it coming. So between the two, who would win this fight? I'm gonna give this one, you're gonna be surprised by this, I'm gonna give this one to HitGirl. Now you're thinking, why? I mean, Wick obviously has experience hand-to-hand combat. He's guns, he's got blades, pencils, he's got everything. But you forget, HitGirl is got something to her element, which is the little charm she used in the first movie. She dressed up like a Girl Scout to pretend that she was this innocent girl. There is a moment where she could use her youth charm to kind of put Wick down just for a moment, to let his guard down and to consider something. And that moment, that's where she can react super quickly and cut his hand off of his hand, or cut his hand off, or cut his leg off, or something like that, and then go for a throw into the chest with one of those butterfly blades. Either way, HitGirl could put Wick down for the count with a quick kill, which she has been capable of showing to do. Even if he has a bulletproof suit, it's not capable of probably dodging a blade directly to the chest or to the head, or even avoiding a hand being chopped off. So yeah, I do believe that HitGirl, with the weaponry in her hand, has got this round in the bag. All right, now round 3, get it done. Okay, so I mentioned on HitGirl that she has multitudes of weapons already, so she can use that to her advantage to take parts of his hands off and have the upper advantage in that moment. And you don't want to have one let your guard down or have anything taken off of you when you're fighting HitGirl, because HitGirl will take advantage of that as quickly as possible, and she's shown how quick she can do when it comes to taking someone out completely. Now, also to be said, she's very adaptable. Remember that instant in the sequel where she's on the top of a van and she's killing a whole bunch of guys inside of a van without even seeing them, and at the same time still trying to fight off a bunch of guys while the car is moving in fast motion? Yeah, she showed time after time that she's capable of adapting in certain crazy environments, in certain crazy situations. And let's not forget, the adrenaline shot needle is still something to a factor. She took out Mother Russia with that adrenaline needle, so if she wanted to last resort, she could probably inject that thing and put Wick out for the count with that adrenaline needle. I mean, even if Wick punched her a bunch of times, it wouldn't matter. You saw what had happened to Mona Russia. Mona Russia couldn't put her down. So yeah, could Wick be in a serious situation or serious trouble? Yes. And let's not forget, the darkness element still comes to her favor. If she uses a moment where she hides in somewhere really dark, maybe some parking lot that can't have a light switch anywhere, and Wick has to fight her in the dark, it does give her much more of an advantage than Wick, because Wick's never been shown to fight anyone in the dark. He's been able to do a lot of things, but there was never an instance in the movie, if I'm not mistaken, where he fought someone in the dark. Now, that being said, there's no denying that obviously HitGirl can be drained and exhausted. She's fought many people before, and she's also almost lost and also been drained from fighting someone in combat. So yeah, she can go on, but how long will she go on? Obviously now with Wick, you obviously have a lot of things going for him. He's got his numbers of how many people he's taken out. He's got his arsenal of weapons that are a little more high-tech, because he comes from an underground world of all these high-tech hit people, so he has weapons for that, and all the best weapons you could possibly come up with. He's got defense-wise going for him when it comes to that bulletproof suit. He wouldn't be able to be taken out that easily. It wouldn't be a quick kill. She would have to either try to find the weapon to put him down, or keep shooting at him until she gets close enough, and even close enough, he still has much more advantage with, as long as he's got a gun in his hand or anything in his hand. He's got this in the bag, so to speak. But there is something to say as an argument, which is the fourth installment, if you haven't already seen it. The fourth installment, he fights this rather large guy. He's a little heavy guy. He's like poorly out of shape, and yet this guy managed to take Wick on and almost beat him. The first round they went at each other, Wick got taken down and was kind of winded, and the big guy was about to just leave, and if it wasn't for Wick to get that determination to get back up, it would have been over. But there is safe to say that Wick still needed time to recover during that time in order to fight this rather large gentleman, and he didn't take him out mano a mano. So yeah, there is a moment where Wick isn't always able to beat his opponent, so to speak. But that being said, who would win between the two? As much as I want to give HitGirl the possibility of being able to cut the hands off of Wick before he could do it, Wick has just been well known for quick draws, so he's not going to give her the chance to be able to throw a blade quick enough to end him. She might be able to throw a blade to get it right in the chest or in the side or something like that, but he will still be able to pull out the pistol and put her out for the count before she can actually end him completely. So even close up, he still can use a samurai sword or something to his advantage. And yeah, samurai sword against someone who can throw a blade or something like that, it's impressive, but it just, you know, there's a lot of arguments and debates to be said whether or not Wick's skills in sword fighting is better than HitGirl's sword fighting. But all in all, he still has the record number of kills. He's been more known in trained skills. He's well known in using better weapons, and he still has defense way better. It would take her too much time to be able to get through him before he could execute her, giving John Wick this win and moving on to the next round. But as always, no press fam, it's not going to be up to me. You guys can vote on my TikTok when I put it out, where I'm going to put a poll where you guys can decide. If you agree with me, John Wick will be voted in, and you guys will have John Wick move on. And if you guys don't agree with me, you guys will vote HitGirl, and HitGirl will move on to the next round. And as always, no press fam, we really appreciate you guys. Catch you guys later. Peace.